Hi everybody, I'm Dominic. In this video I'm going to show you how to install 110 volt outlets, and a whole bunch of them, in this case just 3 of them, to our panel. Now just so you know ahead of time, this whole setup is just to show you guys. None of this is live. See, panel, nothing in it, okay? First thing you want to do is figure out how many outlets that you want to put on each circuit breaker. By rule of thumb, I normally try to stay like around 8-10 outlets per circuit. Either it be a 15 amp circuit or a 12 amp circuit. I'm sorry, 20 amp circuit on a 12 wire. So after you figure out how many outlets you want, now you're going to start putting the boxes in. Again, these are this height for the video. Normally we're going to put them down much lower, okay? So let's start running some wire and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, so I've already put our boxes in for our outlets, and now I want to start drilling through all our studs so we can run our wire. So just a little heads up, what we're going to be doing, we have our panel. Now this one here is located a foot away. Yours could be 50 foot away, 100 foot, whatever. So we're going to get our wire, we're going to come from the panel, we're going to come down, and we're going to go to each outlet, each one of these, which I'll explain. Now, we don't want to take the shortest route. We just don't want to get a wire from here and go straight to the box. All right, we want it down a little bit so we can put a staple in here and secure that, then go up and down to each one. To drill it, use a drill. I like using these spade bits. I'm only going to have one wire going through it. I'm going to use a 9/16 bit, and really I'm going to put it right in the middle. Okay, real important that you try to stay into the middle of the stud when you're doing that. So the screws or nails for the sheetrock and everything else, it's not going to go through your wire. Okay, went and ran our wires, and I'll explain that to you in a second. First I want to show you how I connected it to the panel. We have our white wire, which is our neutral, which would go to our neutral bus bar here. You have our hot wire, our black wire. Now that one's going to go right to the actual breaker itself. In our case, it'd be a 15 amp breaker. And our ground, our bare wire, is going to go to our ground bus bar. Now, the wire is coming down. I stapled it in. Now you want to staple it like within I think it's 1.5 inches. Forgot what code actually is. I've just been doing it for so long, I just do it. And then we're just going back down through our holes that we drilled right here. So the wire is really nicely secured, and it's spanning that 16 inches for our studs. Now, you see this one here I didn't strip yet, because I want to show you how to strip the covering off of this. Now, I already know, even if I come back in a year from now and I can't see, because it's all sheetrock now, I know that this wire that's on the left, that's coming from the left side, you see the holes here on the bottom where the wires come in, that is going to the left. So in our case, it's coming from the panel. So this is our power in. This one here, I know it's going that way to the rest of the outlets, and this is our power out. Real important that you know that. It's a great way to follow it, so you always know if there's ever a problem later on or you're changing something out. Okay, so I know, again, this wire here comes up down here, goes here, and it is our power in and to our power out, and so forth. Now this is the end of our circuit. Now in this case we only have 3 outlets, but we could have 10 outlets. This is the end of it, okay? So you have our hot wire here, our neutral, and our ground. There's not another wire going anywhere else. I'll explain that to you a little bit clearer when I hook up the outlet. Let me go back to this one here, and I'll show you how to strip it. Okay, now another important thing is, I mean, you can always leave too much wire coming out, but if you're too short on it, well, first of all, you'll fail your inspection, and it makes things really hard when you start putting your whole outlet together. What I like to do, I just use the span of my hand from my pinky to my thumb to the box and get a general idea, and that's how long I want the wires coming out. Now, to strip them, I use a utility knife. I come down, slice right in the middle between the wires, peel it back, and then grab one end and pull, just like this, all the way down into the box. Now, real important, you don't want to get this covering, you don't want to peel it back so short that the wires are hanging out at the bottom, because you will fail. You want to leave like a good, at least 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch of that sheath showing. All right, and then just peel the wires apart. You got some paper in there. Peel that out of the way. Again, careful with the utility knife because you don't want to cut into the wire. And that's how we make them all bare like that. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to show you how to wire our first outlet here. Our power in, our power out. Okay. First thing we want to do is we're going to grab our outlet. In this case, is our 15 amp outlet. Now let's take a look at the outlet here. In between these two screws, we actually have a tab in here. Well, that actually connects the top of the outlet and the bottom of the outlet together. You're going to have that on the neutral side, or in this case, the hot side and the neutral side. On the neutral side, we also have the ground. So the ground, which we have here, which is our bare wire, and what I did, I went and connected our two grounds together, because I always want to terminate all our grounds here. And you can see what I did. I got them and I just twisted them together with a pair of pliers. Now, real simple. On the back of the outlet, you do have these little holes. Not all these outlets, but most of them that you're going to find in the home stores. And you can actually just push it right through there and it makes a connection. I don't like doing it that way. I think it's a real chintzy way of going. What I like to do is grab the outlet, you position it like this. And now when we tighten this screw here, we're going to be tightening it clockwise. So real important, we put the wire on the right side of it, and I just use that and I bend it around like that, nice and tight. You see that? I mean, it's really pretty secure. And then from there, we can tighten it really good. I mean, you know, a lot of reasons for fires in houses are bad connections. And one thing we want to do, and you have like, you know, how many outlets do you actually have in your house? We want those outlets at a really good, you know, connection. Okay, so. See that? I mean, that's really tight. It's never going anywhere. I really don't ever have to worry about that. And we're going to bring our other ground here, neutral to this one here, our ground here, and our two hots to the other side. Okay, went and connected our rest of our wires here. We have our two hots coming in, and we have our our neutrals here and our ground. All right, now one thing before we push the outlet back in to the box, I like to get electrical tape and just wrap it around the whole entire outlet. You know, once is good enough. Just like that. It's a good safety thing to do that. So if you're working on the outlet and you go to pull the outlet out, when you grab both sides of that, and if that power was on by accident, of course, you're gonna shock your ass on that one. Okay, so you got all that. Now let's grab the wires, and you got a lot of wires here. Okay. Now you got this big one with the wire nut on it. You want to push them in. Now again, I've already put the electrical tape on. See the ground, and it's all bare like that. Try to keep your grounds on the side where the grounds are on the outlet. Okay, because you know, just in case it was rubbed against somehow, blah blah blah. You know, you don't want to do that. So let's push that in like that. Get the rest of the wires. You can fold them down, and then push them in. Get them like that. Now. You can see, now I'm really fighting the wire, but now it's a little bit easier. Now you put your screws there. One thing to know, try to keep the outlet nice and square. You know, not where it's bent like that, you know, then put it in. Try to do it like that, where it has like a little neutral like that. So it'd be a lot easier trying to make things straight later on. Of course, you know, we didn't put sheetrock on this wall yet, so you wouldn't be putting your outlets. And you just tighten your screws. So, but anyway, what I did, I saved this one for you. Okay, we didn't put an outlet on this one. Now, let's say we're doing all our electrical work, right? And we're running all our wires, all our what's called rough-in electrical. Obviously, the wires, you know, they're dead, okay? And they're not connected to the panel yet. But let's say they are, okay? What I always like to do, you got your hot leads. I like to put a wire nut on each one when I throw it into the wall, just in case later on somebody turns it on. Just don't want to do it. Okay, but no wire nuts to show you right now. What I'm going to do is just push these wires into the outlet box here. Push them in really far, okay? So now we're ready to go over with the sheetrock. So when you go with your tool to cut out your outlets, you really don't have to worry about cutting the wires too much. I mean, let me tell you, I've seen some houses where the sheetrock guys, because they're not electricians and they don't care, will just cut the shit out of all the wires and make a real big problem. Okay? So anyway, that's how you do it. We start with our panel, our breaker going, well, in this case, our 15 amp breaker. We have our hot lead We have our ground going to our ground bar, neutral going to our neutral bar. And you'd really be able to tell that because you'd be able to see your neutral coming in and so forth. And if you can't tell, honestly, don't do this. Just hire a professional electrician. But one thing you can do, if you have a lot of these to do, a lot of wires to run, especially far away, talk to your electrician. Tell them you want to save a few dollars and you want to run the wires at least to the area, because that takes up a lot of time for an electrician to do, and when they're really hard to get to. Something you might want to consider. But back to where you were. So you got power out to your first box here. Again, ours is a foot away. Yours can be 100 feet away. Back out to the outlet, like I just showed you. Then back out to another one, another one, and another one. Up to 10 is a good thing. Now, either it be a 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit, it's still holding it true. Now, this is a white wire, which just tells me that it is a 15 amp circuit, okay? Now, if it was a yellow wire, chances are it's going to be a 20 amp and so forth. Okay, now this is the end of the line here, okay? Everyone has one of these. That's at the end, okay? In other words, power is not coming out of this outlet and going anywhere, okay? So you can see, we just have our neutral, our hot, and our ground, just like everything else. The only difference really, other than having another wire come out, is the ground is just going to go directly to the outlet. So you don't have another one, you don't have to worry about pigtailing that. Okay? Bop, 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 boom! 110 volt outlet power or 120. Okay, why do people always say 110, 120? Well, I'm not going to get so crazy on this. It's the variation of the voltage, of the drop. If you have a house that's close to the transformer, like really close, chances are you're going to be around 120. But if that same house is now 200 feet and you don't have a transformer in between, well, it's just the voltage that drops. It's not a big deal. I mean, yeah, it's within specs. So don't ask me, okay? Anyway, I hope you learned how to shock your ass. I mean, install 120, 110 volt outlet. I'm Dominic. Thanks for watching.